You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Go for it, Jim. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. AEW, Kyle Gagliardi. And as always, my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him,
What's going on, Kyle?
I hadn't talked to you in 2 weeks, so I figured I'd let that one.
You let it rip.
It felt good.
Yeah, I am glad to be back in this seat. Let me tell you what.
So for the people that listened last week, I want to know what you guys thought. Just leave us a tweet. But, Tuck, how was it recording with Mikey? I got to listen to it. I listened to it in Vegas. But
It went about as well as a mid-card match on a Monday Night Raw. It happened. Let me tell you that.
So what was this matchup? If you're comparing yourself to wrestlers there, is that Ricochet versus...
No, I like Ricochet. Even I know he's getting underutilized, but I like him. Let's go like Eric Rowan versus like Jinder Mahal.
It wasn't that bad.
No, that's what it felt like, though.
Okay,
because
it felt like that.
It did make me appreciate the work that you do behind the scenes. Nah, I mean, you have an outline. I don't care how long it takes you to do it. I don't care what it looks like. I don't want to do that.
It's not that hard.
No, I did again.
But then again, for Wheelhouse, you don't do that too anymore, right? You don't.
No, we do, but we always have a script, a plan, but generally it's popping up a day or two ahead of time. The three of us collaborate on the doc.
That makes sense.
You steer this ship, and I appreciate it more now than I ever have.
Well, it works both ways. I mean, I can set this up and talk about it and transition into new topics, but I need somebody to, give those things off of, and you give it right back. That's how this show works, and that's how we operate.
Absolutely.
Because I can't do it without you. You can't do it without me. I mean, you can. It's just with other people, and it doesn't sound the same.
It does not. So.
I was going to say that. I enjoyed the episode, the Fastlane takes. I wanted to correct Mikey on some things because he gave some wrong facts about some histories and things. He was like, Randy's only RKO'd Nia Jax. That was the last person or woman. He RKO'd Alexa Bliss like 2 weeks ago or 3.
Hey, we got through it.
You did get through it, and I appreciate you putting out an episode because that was episode 53. We're on the 54, but before we get into everything, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be some controversy going on here.
Okay.
The OTM pay-per-view champion, who is it?
Us. We
confirmed that.
You and I, yeah.
You don't think there's going to be any contention from Ryan Vogus? So usually I actively text him the card.
Correct.
But I was in Las Vegas this weekend. I was preoccupied. I wasn't thinking wrestling.
Yes.
So I didn't send anyone. I didn't even send Mikey the card.
Correct.
So I'm not going to take the heat for this because I know Vogus listening right now might not be happy that he is no longer the OTM pay-per-view champion. But we're calling it me and you then.
Well, with all due respect, the pay-per-view happened.
It did.
The picks weren't in.
He knew the pay-per-view was happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He
might be mad. I'm just saying. I'm not taking the heat for this.
I know exactly what just happened in his vehicle. He just did a shoulder shrug and went, nah.
All right. I'm just making sure.
I think that's how much he cares about the title.
I think me and you are really the only ones that care about it a lot. I care about it a lot.
Mike obviously doesn't with some of his picks.
The picks weren't as bad as I expected for Fastlane.
And when you let the man explain,
right?
When the man, if you're getting his picks at face value without context, you're like, what the heck is this guy doing? But, he went over a long time. He got the Roman Reigns match right.
He was over on Fastlane for a while.
Not great. Well, and then it came between you and I. You needed Bliss to win. I needed Orton to win. Mikey also had Orton. that did not make me feel great about my pick.
My reasoning behind, and I whipped those picks up to you right after I listened to your guys' episode, and I didn't have any thought. I didn't watch SmackDown at that time. My thinking was if we are going to get the return of The Fiend there, that there's no way that Alexa would lose, and that's actually what ended up happening. So,
yeah.
But like you said with Mikey, when he explains his reasoning on a podcast or in a Book It Better blog, it actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not pulling this out of his ass.
Right.
But he also, I don't think, is thinking like somebody that might work in WWE because his plans don't match up with the WWE.
He gets caught up by what he wants to see a little bit. And I think that's why pro wrestling in any brand, NXT, AEW, WWE, even the storytelling among indies, like Warrior Wrestling has long developing story arcs. Black Label Pro, I think that's where sometimes indies lose appeal, is people don't feel the thread from one to another. But I have to credit Warrior Wrestling and Black Label Pro specifically. They do a good job of keeping threads going. Here, this has happened. So and so's coming in. Yeah. The independents are a little bit tougher. You're getting independent contractors essentially. These hired guns are coming in, and you don't have a stabled roster. So,
can we talk about Warrior Wrestling for a brief second?
Sure.
That event they're putting on June 5th, the night one of their stadium series, it's already loaded with some talent. Have you seen the list that they have going for them? They got Matt Cardona just announced.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. Most people know him as Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was huge in WWE for more than a decade. The return of Kylie Ray. Yeah. Kylie Ray's back to wrestling, which is fantastic news. She's the Warrior Women's Champion, isn't she?
Correct, yeah.
And she's facing off against Thunder Rosa, who we just saw have a banger of a match against Britt Baker. Let's talk about that, too, really quick, since we're not going to talk about AEW. That main event, I'm assuming you watched it.
Yep.
Easily the best women's match in AEW history, right?
Ever of all time. Yep. It's as a fan, it shows that AEW's women's division can be great.
Has legs.
It does. And it's just what that women's division needed. How Britt Baker is not the champion yet,
I think they're starting to get it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you watched Dynamite last night, Ty Conti got a win over Nyla Rose. Mm-hmm. And that, a couple months ago, would not happen.
Yeah, there's a shift happening. I was going to say
you can feel it. And that might have been the pendulum swinging match right there. Mm-hmm. That probably started this domino effect.
Yeah, and I love the promo that she cut on Dynamite last night, too. Great. Basically calling out Tony Khan and things like that. When she sees the company at face value, you can bring in these legends, you can do what you want, but I'm right here, and
She brought up Thunder Rosa, Mick Foley, and like you said, Tony Khan. Yeah, in one promo.
She's pretty real.
She's pretty awesome. So yeah, Warrior Wrestling will be awesome. I know me and Ian will be in attendance. You are questionable for the June 5th show due to baseball, right?
Correct. Yeah, that would be the regional if we were fortunate enough to win the sectional.
Which, you guys, preseason top 10, correct?
Yeah. Yep, preseason top 10. I don't know where those rankings come from. We haven't played a game in 670 days. So.
I don't know if we want to use the sound effect right now, but, of course, right when we're talking about Warrior Wrestling, right now there is some breaking news that, unfortunately, Thunder Rosa will have to withdraw from her match with Kylie Ray.
AEW's got big plans for her.
You think they officially signed her?
I would not be surprised.
Oh, so the previously reported Thunder Rosa is still under contract with NWA, which just returned to TV, and NWA doesn't want her facing Kylie Ray.
Okay.
That's selfish. I wanted to see Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. They'll figure it out. Kylie Ray's back.
In Warrior We Trust, they do a good job.
We got to get the head honcho of Warrior Wrestling on the show.
I agree.
Going to happen one of these days. We promise you. But before we get into the wrestling talk, if you're a loyal listener, you probably already know this, but if you're new to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast, we need to tell you about the Overtime Sports Network. Tuck, you want to tell them just a little bit about OTSN?
Well, the Overtime Sports Network is a collection of blogs, bloggers, and podcasts covering many different sports and avenues in the sporting world, from pro wrestling to football, baseball, all kinds of things. And it's just a collection of people that enjoy talking sports and professional, sports entertainment. So you can head over to otsportsnetwork.wixsite.com/OTSN.
Mouthful, I know.
I know it. Or the easiest way, if you don't want to punch all that into your browser, go over to Twitter @_OTSN. It's linked in the bio.
Yep.
Give us a follow. It's nice if you follow @PodOnTheMark. We really appreciate that, and hope you follow us on Twitter as well @PodOnTheMark.
That's right.
But the Overtime Sports Network, if you follow that Twitter, that's where you're going to get all of it's kind of the hub, right? So
Correct.
Retweets from all the different podcasts and blogs. That's where you can kind of get
Keep up.
the timeline. Yeah.
If you want to blog, if you have that itch to write, maybe create YouTube content, or just want to be a part of the network in any way, shape, or form, you can contact one of us. Or just reach out to the show @PodOnTheMark, and we get you involved with the OTSN family. But we were just talking about Fastlane a little bit ago. That happened this Sunday, the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And originally I didn't plan on watching this show live, but those plans changed for me. I was losing a lot of bets in college basketball. I didn't have any interest in putting money on the games that were happening during WWE Fastlane. So what I did was I downloaded the Peacock app on my phone, and I watched it on my phone with my headphones in the middle of a casino floor. That's dedication right there, Tuck.
Crazier things have happened.
That's dedication.
In Vegas, I'm sure. But yes, I have to credit your dedication. And with the way March Madness is going, I think you can rest assured you're not the only one who didn't have things go quite their way.
So here's this last story, non-wrestling related.
But hold on. Hats off to Ryan for picking North Texas. That's a big boy move right there, didn't he?
Wow. Oh,
Your
yeah,
brother
my brother.
Ryan.
I thought you were talking about Ryan Vogus for a
No.
second. No, my brother was the only person out of 22 people to have North Texas beating Purdue. He was onto something.
That's Ryan making big boy moves.
That's what he does.
Pretty simple. Shout out to Ryan. You're the man.
That's right. So I was 8-16. That was my record. 8 wins, 16 losses on college bets in Las Vegas.
A 33% clip.
Not great. That's losing money. I get home. I place 4 bets. How many bets do you think I won?
You won all 4 of those.
I did.
Stateside.
Of course. I get home. Maybe it's just home turf, home cooking.
Oh, yeah.
I just felt right in my element, and I won all my bets. But I say for Fastlane, we recap kind of in a brief way, and then we dive into the matches that could be potentially happening at WrestleMania. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first thing was on the kickoff. Riddle retained his United States Championship against Ali, but more of the story is what happened after. It seems as if finally Retribution is dead. All of the members except Ali were left in the ring afterwards, while T-Bar and Mace powerbombed him to end the kickoff match against Riddle. Thoughts? Retribution probably dead?
Thank God. Okay, moving on.
What's next for these guys? Do you think they abandon the Retribution gimmicks and just start scratch? Yeah.
Please, bring back Dominik Dijakovic. Bring back Mia Yim. That's really all
I was going to say Shane Thornton really wasn't anything.
Nah.
Who are we missing?
Dio Madden.
Wasn't anything. We'll see. Well, the reason I think behind this, apparently, according to Wrestling Inc., is that Ali tore his pec a few weeks ago against Riddle, and he was kind of fighting through it these last 2 weeks. So they're thinking he might have surgery that would sideline him a bit. But the original plan, according to Wrestling Inc., once again, was that Retribution was going to split at Mania.
Okay.
But Ali, after that, tweeted he wasn't getting surgery. So maybe this report isn't entirely true. Maybe it's half true. What do you take out of this whole Retribution situation? Do you think Ali could be hurt, or are they just saying, fuck this, it's not working?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. Ali might not be as hurt as they originally thought or anticipated, and they realize they have a steaming pile of poop with Retribution. Just it's been one of those things where they're shooting themselves in the foot from the get-go.
Yes.
Even their raids or takeovers early on, they just weren't good.
No.
They never felt like a threat to me.
It never was hot. There was never a time where
No.
Retribution though.
You got
No.
Yeah, and they're conveniently not popping up and causing mayhem when they on pay-per-view. Like, if you're going to make them chaotic, make them chaotic.
They spent majority of this non-fan era kind of building Retribution.
Yeah.
And to think here we are about to get to WrestleMania 37 for the first time that there's fans in the stands, and it is already done.
Yep.
That's what we call failure, Tuck.
Yeah.
But it can only mean good things for people like Ali, people like Mia Yim, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she goes back to NXT, and I think the guy that will benefit the most maybe is Dominik Dijakovic.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he was doing with Keith Lee in NXT,
Electric.
great stuff.
Great.
So, hopefully this is good news. We'll see where they go with it from here. But on the main card, Shayna and Nia retained their tag team championships against Sasha and Bianca. I didn't care about this match going into it because it felt fairly obvious. And I also don't like the fact that they put Sasha not in one but two tag team championship matches before WrestleMania. Did that ever make sense to you?
No. But they kind of do it where whichever woman from the women's division is hottest, they're just going to ride her like a show pony. Charlotte Flair was getting that treatment as well, putting her through her paces. So just getting her on TV. But I wish they just would have spent more time heating up Bianca and Sasha.
You can do more with just Bianca and Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's Bianca or Sasha facing someone in a singles match,
Mm-hmm.
and like Sasha or Bianca are ringside and they're causing a little trouble, But the tag team stuff, you just don't need to have that match. And I didn't care about it. It wasn't good on Fastlane, in my opinion.
Nope.
And we can move on from there. But something that really intrigued me, Tuck, was Big E versus Apollo Crews. I had Apollo Crews in the predictions because I figured with this new gimmick that he just got that they would strike while the iron was hot. They had a weird finish. It kind of came out of nowhere, was very early.
Yeah.
Were you as confused as I was when this transpired?
I didn't know what to type into the spreadsheet with our predictions until the announcers made it clear that Apollo is attacking him because he lost and he's fed up and this or that.
Didn't it seem like Apollo wanted to continue the match?
Yeah.
Even though there was a finish?
Right. I don't know what happened. It was not good.
It was not. And
I thought the back and forth was fine. The match itself, and then it was like pop, pop, pop. We were like,
it was it.
What?
Yeah. Very confusing. I sat there dumbfounded in Vegas because
and Mista asked.
I thought we missed something.
Right, and Mista asked, like, wait, is it who won? I'm like, I don't know.
So I get it. Like, this is to prolong the feud. And they obviously didn't want to pull the trigger on Apollo at Fastlane, maybe, but it was awkward. It was quick, like maybe 5 or 6 minutes into the match.
And you don't, when you're trying to heat up a new character, that was an interesting way to heat him up.
Well, speaking of that new character, I appreciate that Apollo has something to him now.
Yeah, he's got an edge, yeah.
We talked about it, I believe, multiple times in the past, that Apollo is a great, athletic, talented guy.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no substance.
Right.
Now there's a little bit there.
Yeah. He has something to fight for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the only knock I have on him is that accent is not good.
No, is it supposed to be that
Nigerian, right?
No. That I get that.
Oh,
but has he been covering up the Nigerian accent with like a standard American?
Like he sounds like a true blood American, 100%. Like when he talks
and
normally.
That was supposed to be the fake. The weird pullback because
it's the opposite of Kofi. Because when Kofi debuted, he was Jamaican.
Yeah.
And I think I even referenced the Shawn Michaels Triple H thing where he was like, aren't you supposed to be Jamaican when he broke character in the middle of the ring? So he went the opposite way. He started talking English, and now he's got a Nigerian accent.
Like Western American accent to a Nigerian.
Like I said, the character's great.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I like the color scheme, the presentation of the entrance, but the accent and that finish of the match.
Not good.
Not good. So Fastlane starts off kind of bad, right? Like, that's not good.
Well, that match was literally, it was in the Fastlane. It went quick.
Yeah. So after that, we at least got some better stuff. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, they had another fantastic no-holds-barred match together. The chemistry between these two, obviously, is great, especially since they've known each other for so long. And their few physical encounters that they've had, I feel like, was the perfect stopgap for Drew McIntyre before he faces Bobby Lashley. What do you think about this one right here?
The McIntyre Sheamus?
Sheamus,
yeah. Great. It was great. Two guys just getting after it, laying it down. The Instagram-worthy back shots and kendo sticks and welts and things like that. I think when you have two of those, like two guys like that in the ring, they care about what it looks like. The face paint was not great. I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it either.
A lot of people did.
I get it.
I don't.
I think it's a Scottish face paint.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Warriors, how they painted their face.
Nah.
But no, great match.
Yeah.
And this is one of the instances where I enjoy the Thunderdome because they have the creativity to go through those screens.
Yeah, different layers.
Go outside of and where the actual baseball field.
More expressive, more impressive pyro than the barbed wire death match.
Sheamus going through LED screens was more explosive than the explosive barbed wire death match.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. But the match was
outstanding.
Very, very good. So Drew McIntyre gets the win right before WrestleMania. It makes a lot of sense. And then after that, The Fiend would return in the match with Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton in a burnt outfit. Kind of a new look going on there. I don't know if this is permanent, but from what we've seen on the marquee and the graphic, looks like that's the new Fiend. Tuck, what do we think?
Here we go. I'm a horror fan, horror movies. I love horror movies. I'm interested. That's about all I have. We'll see what it looks like.
Are you burnt out from this feud?
Yeah, from this feud particular, yes. My passion for The Fiend was red hot, and and I think Ryan Vogus would say the same thing. He was The Fiend for Halloween, and spent money, like good money, to do a good job at it.
Arguably, my favorite Halloween costume anybody's ever done was what Vogus did.
Yeah. Took it seriously, a man of his craft. And
do we think he can replicate what The Fiend has right now?
I don't think he wants to.
I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, I don't. I'm interested to see where The Fiend goes, but I'm not nearly as into it as I was right at the beginning. I thought The Fiend was so freaking cool, and now it's like, okay,
it's not his fault.
What are you gonna do?
It's just the way that this feud has really been built. I think it was hot and it was good, but you can't keep the man off TV for that long, and I think that's where things started to kind of fade away. We were losing interest a little bit, and they're trying to stretch this till WrestleMania. So hopefully when we get to Mania, that's the end-all be-all of that.
Kaput, yes, please.
Did you watch Randy Orton's Broken Skull?
No.
Good. I watched it last night. I think I snapped
I thought you were saying
no,
good.
No, good you didn't watch it? No, it was good.
The last one I watched was Sasha Banks, I think.
I don't think any of those are ever bad, though. That's
the
thing. So I watched the Bailey, the Sasha, and the Randy one last night. Had the match that I referred to a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. 2011 SummerSlam, Christian, Randy Orton. That was my favorite Christian match. So I need you to watch that.
Okay.
I know you're a busy man right now, but we need to get that on the homework, all right?
All right. I can do that.
So the main event, Roman Reigns defeated Daniel Bryan. I thought this was the perfect match to close the show. And if this match didn't happen, I think we could have been talking about Fastlane being one of the worst pay-per-views of the no-fan era. What do you think about that?
Yeah, up till that point, it was underwhelming. Almost one of the ones where your expectations were met, but your expectations weren't great going into it. I do think the Rollins-Nakamura match was fair. I liked that one too. Drew and Sheamus was solid, but for this, I was expecting a little bit more, given that this was the first run they were making on Peacock. And
yeah, that's fair.
It was all right.
I mean,
the main event was good though.
The main event, and I think Sheamus and Drew were the ones that delivered. Everything else very forgettable. Like even the Fiend stuff was meh.
Well, like I said, I liked the Rollins and Nakamura match because it made me kind of remember that they were both good at wrestling.
That's true. I didn't add that to the doc because it
Yeah.
really didn't have significance to it
Right.
because you assumed Rollins was going to win because he looks like he's on a collision course with Cesaro.
Yeah.
But Shinsuke, there was that brief time, I think it was, 2 weeks maybe on SmackDown, where I think we thought they were heating him up again.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Nope. We'll see, I guess. But, yeah. But it was good to see those two guys get after it as well.
It was. Nakamura, a guy I think that would benefit from going back to NXT, kind of like Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Something I would like to see.
Sure.
And it's something they definitely should consider. Otherwise, Nakamura, kind of like Andrade, might ask for his release.
He gone, yeah.
How about that? Andrade just said, I'm out.
What an interesting dynamic, too. You can't even keep the dude that's engaged to Charlotte Flair in your
wrestler.
company.
Yeah.
Bro.
Not great.
No.
I don't blame him.
No.
He's in the prime of his career.
And that window the prime window is not as wide open. That doesn't mean he only has a year or a couple left, like in football or at the NBA or something like that.
Yeah, like he's got a 5 to 10 year sweet spot.
But the money window, there is a huge money window that progressively closes, I feel like, on a lot of those guys, and he's right in the middle of it, and he's just wasting away.
Yeah.
I could see why he's unhappy.
I know everybody says this, but AEW, Andrade, pair him with Selena Vega again.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
It's just AEW's got a lot going on right now, too.
They don't have,
There's not a lot of room going on there.
No.
But, like, you were talking about those windows. It feels like Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns have kind of been in that decade window now for a bit, and they delivered here in the main event. Daniel Bryan on the road to WrestleMania just hits different. I feel like when we are getting closer to the grandest stage of them all, he heats up. The crowd, even though there is no crowd, I feel like even the internet is completely behind him.
Oh, yeah.
And he made this match. It was probably my favorite. I don't know. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns was good. I was going to say it was my favorite match in a losing effort against Roman Reigns since the head of the table.
Well, they made him look really strong. They got the thumbnail of Roman tapping.
Yeah.
That happened.
And that's the layer that I want to talk about. That and Edge showing this other side of his character. I thought that was also a nice little layer in this feud between the three now. It seems like Daniel definitely is in the conversation. So Edge, he doesn't care if Daniel Bryan's the quote-unquote good guy here. He hit him with the chair. He hit Roman with the chair.
Yeah.
Edge wasn't having that shit.
No.
And now I'm thinking, we're going to get Daniel Bryan in this match, aren't we?
I feel like it. Right? How do
you want it?
Kind of.
I do.
I wouldn't hate Daniel Bryan versus Edge. I wouldn't hate Edge versus Roman Reigns. I wouldn't hate Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. You put all three of them in a mixer, make it a ladder match. Let's get weird. I don't know. I know they won't, but
well, that's the thing too that could come out of that. Say you do that triple threat at WrestleMania, whoever wins, you have singles matches that can come from that.
Yep.
Say if Edge did win and Roman Reigns wants to take a little break,
sure,
Edge and Daniel Bryan can get them the SummerSlam,
and
there's nothing wrong with that feud. So yeah, that'd be very cool to see Daniel Bryan in that match. But overall, what would you give Fastlane? Give me a grade. Teach.
C-.
I swear we think the same because I was going to say C-.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it wasn't a failure of a show. It wasn't a home run. I didn't think it was. It was a little bit below average. The thing that I think brought it up to a C- were the last two matches. But you have the botch. You have forgettable matches that weren't technically terrible, but you're just not going to go back and rewatch them. I'd go back and watch Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns in that match again.
So I rewatched Sheamus, McIntyre, and the main event because those were the two when I was watching in Vegas where I didn't have my full attention because things were happening.
Sure, but
I knew they were good, so I wanted to go back and look at those. Those two definitely stood out.
Yeah,
but yeah, other than that, I would agree with you. C-, maybe C at best. You could say.
Yeah,
because I didn't hate my time watching it, but I also wasn't like, oh, that was fun.
Right.
So yeah, I think C- is fair. But we are on the road now officially to WrestleMania 37. Can you believe it, Tuck, that we are just 3 weeks away?
No, I honestly can't. Like, we were talking around this time last year, like, how long do you think it will be until fans are back? Will there be fans at SummerSlam?
Isn't that weird? We were talking about SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm. And
finally,
fans will be back. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to feel the energy. Should be a little bit more palpable than, even at a Dynamite or the Revolution show. This crowd is just small, just smaller.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Bailey talked about it on Renee Paquette's podcast today. She's technically not even on the card right now, but she says, I want to be there in the audience just to feel that.
Yes.
Feel that energy, because it's definitely a thing when we've been to live events. If you haven't, you're missing out. You need to get to some. It is completely different when you are in attendance for any wrestling event.
Oh, it's palpable. It can go one way or the other. You can let the air out of a balloon. Even the Dynamite in Chicago that we went to, there wasn't a ton of tension there. You weren't feeling it a ton. But then you compare that to NXT War Games, and you're like, So I expect a great WrestleMania, given that the performers are going to be in front of people again, and appreciate being in front of people.
Yeah, it's
what is it? 20,000 fans a night?
25,000. If you're on a 1 through 10, how excited are you right now for WrestleMania? Right this moment,
8.5.
Really?
Yeah,
that's higher than I expected.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I want to see a few more matches trickle through.
We got some time. Not much, but we got some time.
Yeah.
I'm at like a 6.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's the way that things have either been built or the card in general.
Yeah.
Take away those 4 title matches, look at the mid-card tag area. I don't feel like there's enough attention to those feuds. And maybe these next 3 weeks, they can do that for me, but I don't know. I guarantee you the week of WrestleMania, when we get all that good wrestling, like I just showed you before the podcast, Raw, the Hall of Fame, 2 nights of TakeOver, SmackDown, 2 nights of WrestleMania. That's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But right now I'm at like a 6.
Right.
Do you think it's the card, or is it the build? Or
I think it's the card.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because,
of everything.
We'll go over the card here in a little bit. But speaking of WrestleMania, we will have a show WrestleMania week. If you didn't see the news that was shared on social media at Pod on the Mark, unfortunately, Tuck won't be able to record. He is busy right now with some baseball.
Oh, yeah?
You didn't know. He's a head coach here at a local high school team. I'm not going to name the team just so people can't send you hate letters, just in case you choke or something like that. I saw that there was somebody wearing a Couts hat at a spring training game. Was that a thing?
Yeah, one of the Couts families.
I just said the names, though.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
but one of the families from the school is down, and a reporter thought it was a Charlotte Knights hat, but no, it wasn't.
It was not.
Couts High School hat.
It was.
I designed that hat. Put some respect on it.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive. But yeah, we will have a show that week. It will be on April 6th, which is a Tuesday. That is the night of the Hall of Fame. I figured that would probably be the best night because a lot of people are going to be preoccupied with all the live wrestling going on that week. It will be at 7 p.m. Central, which means 8 o'clock Eastern, and I will be joined by a work in progress, Brent Piles, for an NXT TakeOver and WrestleMania preview show. Tuck, I know you won't be able to probably tune in live, but I'm pretty excited for this one right here. A little mashup between the OTSN Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, it should be good.
So we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about the matches that could be happening at WrestleMania or will be happening. Rhea Ripley made her Raw debut this week and immediately challenged Asuka to a Raw Women's title match at WrestleMania, and that was right after Asuka defeated Peyton Royce in singles action. Tuck, with no Charlotte Flair due to her getting COVID, unfortunately, this is probably the best option.
Still think it's bullshit.
What's bullshit?
Rhea Ripley came in second at the Royal Rumble, and then all she has to do is show up and ask for a title match. Bianca Belair had to win, and she got to pick which title she went after, sure. But then Rhea Ripley just shows up. Way to go, runner-up. Way to go.
That's what the second place gets now in the Royal Rumble. You didn't know? You get the other title.
Congrats for not winning. How about you just ask for a challenge? Didn't have to beat anybody.
I was going to say, would you have liked to just seen Rhea win a number one contenders match?
Put her on the chase. Put her on the chase. Make her a monster. they put the graphic that Rhea Ripley was coming for a couple of weeks.
A couple vignettes too.
Put her in the chase and make her earn it. That it just rubbed me the wrong way.
I actually didn't even think about that because obviously when I saw that I was like, oh yeah, cool. Rhea versus Asuka is gonna be great.
It's gonna be a great match. It will be unbelievable. I'm really excited for it. I just think it was kind of BS.
I don't think you can do two better women's matches right now.
No.
Like that's
I don't want to see
that's as good as it
else.
gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we just referenced Bayley, and it's unfortunate she really doesn't have a spot on the card, but she doesn't fit in right now. Like, she had her time.
Mm-hmm.
She had her reign and all that stuff. But Rhea Ripley facing against Asuka made sense to me just because of Charlotte Flair's absence. But don't be surprised if Charlotte makes her way into that.
Right, yeah.
Always,
she'll be done with COVID by then.
She would be, but maybe she just takes a COVID break and takes an Andrade break after him leaving.
Yo.
Could be a thing. Apparently, she threatened to leave WWE if they didn't grant Andrade his release.
Good flex.
You think that's legit?
I don't know if it's legit, but you're not going to let Charlotte Flair walk out the door.
You do not let Charlotte Flair. You do not let Sasha. You don't let.
And
there's a lot of people in WWE I'm not letting walk.
There's
in the women's
not
division.
many people in that company that can straight up flex on Vince like that, but. Hey, Vince, this is Charlotte. Just want to let you know that you are actually going to let Andrade go. You're going to release him. And, yeah, that's going to be the end of that conversation.
I wouldn't hesitate if I was Vince. I'd be like, yes.
Sorry, Charlotte. You got it. Andrade, you're released.
You're not fired. You can come back if you want, maybe later.
Yes.
Anything for you, Charlotte. But night one right now looks like this. You have Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. And speaking of Lashley, Vogus shared this with us this morning that Bobby Lashley was the very first person to ever make Sheamus tap out in WWE this week on Monday Night Raw. Isn't that insane to think about?
Yeah. You would think along the line somewhere he would tap at something.
Because he's been there over a decade now.
I wonder if it was intentional or by coincidence. That's you know what I mean?
Maybe it's just like one-upsmanship since Drew just beat Sheamus in a no-holds-bar, but now Lashley can bring that into the story. He's like, yeah, but I tapped out your boy.
And he's never been tapped.
They need to incorporate that in the story the next 3 weeks.
I think so.
Because they didn't reference that on Raw, right?
Right. I agree.
So, we'll see. But yeah, Bobby Lashley versus Drew. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair is on night one. And I think this should main event.
I agree.
I don't think it will, though.
I think it should.
Are you thinking Bobby Lashley and Drew, though? That's what I'm thinking.
I'm hoping not.
Yeah, because Sasha and Bianca, can you name a better women's wrestler right now than Sasha Banks?
Bianca Belair.
That's actually
they're like, to me, I think Bianca's right. I think Sasha Banks is goated right now, but Bianca Belair is like right up there. I think it's going to be a great match.
That is crazy to think about, like how much GOAT status women are in WWE right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Charlotte's in that conversation, Sasha, Bayley, Becky,
yep,
who's not even wrestling right now.
Mm-hmm. Nia Jax even.
Okay.
Sorry. Whoop.
She's not like most girls.
No.
And now she's got Reginald. But I think Vogus loves Reginald.
Prayers up for Reginald, honestly.
Reginald's going through the ringer on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So the third match that's been confirmed for night one is Bad Bunny versus The Miz. Not what we originally thought. We were expecting a tag match with Damien Priest involved, maybe John Morrison, but we are getting Bad Bunny in a singles match at WrestleMania. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm actually sneaky excited about it because they feel confident enough in Bad Bunny to have a match. Why not hide him in a tag match? That makes sense, sure. But they're giving him a singles match, so I'm sneaky excited to see it.
Bad Bunny is facing off against a man who just was WWE champion 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about.
The world we live in, I tell you.
It's very weird. I want Damien Priest to have some action. I'm sure he'll have a spot or two involved in that, but it's ultimately leading to Miz versus Damien Priest. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking the Miz in that matchup.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let Bad Bunny beat the Miz. My only thinking is just because the Miz was WWE champion.
Miz wins, Damien Priest comes in, make him a power.
Yeah.
Got it.
You see where I'm going with that? So now I got you on board with that pick.
Yeah, maybe.
We're already co-champions.
Yeah.
So Does that mean I get to hold on to the belt a little bit here and there, or are you just going to hold on to it?
No, it's just like at my house.
I haven't even decided if I want that AEW title to be a belt that moves around.
100%.
I have the option to hold on to it.
Well, don't lose it then.
No, I'll just let people have the toy one.
No, come on.
No?
Come on.
You've already held my NXT title hostage for like a year now, it feels like.
Well,
and I spent my hard-earned money on that. I have 2 belts in this equation. You have 1.
Yep.
Look at it that way.
Okay.
Time for you to get another belt. A Warrior Wrestling. Warrior Wrestling Championship.
I'm in.
Okay. So night 2, you have Roman Reigns versus Edge. That's got to be the last match of Mania, right?
Yep.
Which could have Daniel Bryan in it. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, and The Fiend versus Randy Orton. So those are what we know of now. We also know that the New Day will face AJ Styles and Omos, and that Braun Strowman will face Shane McMahon, but we don't know which match is going to be on which night. So let's discuss both these feuds before we end the show. Omos is making his wrestling debut in tag team action, and as you saw on Monday Night Raw, it seemed like the New Day was trying to poke the bear a little bit, saying that AJ Styles really doesn't know Omos.
Right.
Do you think this is just a way for Omos to turn face maybe on AJ Styles, or do you think AJ and Omos could walk out champions?
Well, I don't think they'll win. And I do think the program following it will be AJ versus Omos, because AJ is such a good worker, can get him through. But hey, welcome to WWE. Your first match is actually we're just going to put you at WrestleMania. They're big guy.
They don't do that a lot. Like Ronda Rousey, they did it with, but Omos isn't Ronda Rousey. He's what, 7-something?
He's huge.
It's smart to do it in a tag team action because you can let a workhorse like AJ Styles do majority of the work.
I'm interested to see what his gear is going to look like.
I feel like he's just look like the Great Khali with just pants and no shirt.
I think he's going to look like Kevin Nash, singlet pants. Ooh, he's got the strap. He's got the straps up there. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm kind of excited for it, though.
Me too.
Because that guy, I like that little dynamic that has been added to AJ's character, but I was kind of hoping that it would be more than just AJ and a tag team.
Yeah.
I thought there was more to Omos being there. But the reason it makes sense to me is that AJ wants to become a Grand Slam champion.
Mm-hmm.
So if he were to win here, he would be. But I think AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the world. You would probably agree with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I do believe this is slightly beneath him. Just a little bit.
Sure. I would listen to the argument. Yes.
It would be weird to see AJ Styles and Omos as tag team champions.
Yeah.
I was weirded out when the New Day beat the Hurt Business on Raw. Wasn't that on Raw? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Like what? At first, I'm like, what was that? I'm like, oh, it's because AJ and Omos.
Yep.
But now, what does the Hurt Business do?
Oh, who cares?
You're ready for them to get broken up? Like,
no, I like the Hurt Business.
So do I. Yeah.
I'm just joking.
I thought they'd be.
I don't want them to come to my house.
I don't think they will.
Okay.
COVID. Maybe after.
Good. That's true.
They already know where you head coach.
Yeah.
So we got to connect the dots here a little bit. For a good price, I will share that information.
Whatever.
Like Ted DiBiase said, everybody has a price.
Yeah, everybody's got a price.
So the last one I want to talk about here, last and certainly least, Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman looks like it is going to continue until WrestleMania. How this started was pretty childish, based off of bullying you'd see in maybe one of your classes that you teach, Tuck. Shane was kind of just making fun of Braun, calling him stupid. And to me personally, I think this feud is insulting to the diehard wrestling fans like you and me. What do you think?
I hate it. I don't like it. I feel like there's more you could do with it. Like, I don't hate Shane. I don't hate Braun. The way that they're disliking each other right now, I hate it.
I had this conversation with Ian on one of his Twitch streams. Mm-hmm. Shane's had good matches at WrestleMania.
I agree.
The Miz in that Falls Count Anywhere match was insane. He kicked off a WrestleMania with AJ Styles. It was great.
I think the match itself could be good. Braun's a good worker. Shane can get after it. There's a potential for a good spot. I just don't want to suffer through the build of it if it's in the same ilk.
It's the same thing every week.
I don't want it.
It's like when you have Sting come out for an interview with Tony Schiavone every week.
Bro,
and
Braun got slimed.
Oh, that was bad. What was that?
Where in the world is there just a bucket of slime?
You didn't know that Kevin Kiermaier has slime out in center field whenever he's playing in Tropicana?
That's ass.
It's bad. That's why I said it's insulting to me and you. Like, why are we supposed to care about that match at WrestleMania?
I don't. Nobody does.
Like, Vogus, I'm telling you right now, when that match comes on, go take your piss break, man.
Yep, that's
Go get some popcorn.
Yeah, but, like, don't you kind of want to see the train wreck?
Don't you kind of want to see the possibility of Shane McMahon jumping off a pirate ship?
That's what I'm saying.
That's all it's leading to. There's going to be one spot where Shane almost dies, Braun wins, and we move on.
Yeah.
Which, sure, that'll be a cool moment, but the feud...
It's not going to make or break WrestleMania.
Like, then again, can you think of anything else for Braun to do?
No.
Maybe you could have put him in a tag team.
Nah.
But, like, you've done that, been there, done that. Especially at WrestleMania. He did it with...
You could have him run through the crowd and find an 8-year-old kid. Oh, they've already done that, actually.
Yeah. Or you have him run through the crowd with the train noises going. Did you hear that on Monday Night Raw?
Yes.
What are they doing? Like, I'm Thunderdomed out, brother.
Brother.
I've had enough of the Thunderdome. It's great. It served its purpose, but get fans back in the stands, please.
They're getting bored back there in the gorilla position. I'm telling you that. But speaking of the term brother, Hulk Hogan hosting WrestleMania.
You know what? You know what they were thinking? They're like, you know what? Hogan's been viewed as a racist before. Let's put him with Titus O'Neil.
This is going to be good. This is going to be a PR move for us. I don't care.
No.
I don't care.
I wonder what 25,000 is going to sound like. Because obviously we know what a WrestleMania with 80,000 sounds like. But it's probably going to sound loud just because we haven't heard real things.
I think it will sound loud, but I also think they're going to have to preamp it or EQ it and kind of juice it because 25,000 people is a lot of people, but not when it's 1/4 of a building.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
Because, that's a big surface area to cover.
Yeah, so
there's got to be that filler.
If a small gym can fit 100 people, that would sound markedly different than that same gym only holding 25.
Exactly.
You know?
And I'm going to be very bummed at this WrestleMania that we won't be able to hear, shut it down! Retribution. Just I can't get over that, man. Like, fuck.
Rest in peace.
It's a real bummer. But the Thunderdome apparently was renewed. They're going to go somewhere else.
The Yingling Center.
Yeah, where the hell's that? I like Yingling. I enjoy drinking it.
Yeah, same.
I enjoy drinking Ray's Energy, too.
Hey.
Use promo code OTSN at checkout, and you can get $5 off your next order.
Come on now.
Repsports.com is where you can find Ray's Energy. But, Tuck, we are past Fastlane. We are ready for WrestleMania. 3 weeks away. Any final remarks going into episode 55 next week?
No. I have nothing else to say.
Will you have time next week?
I should. There is a possibility that I will have some time.
We probably should discuss AEW a little bit next week.
Yeah, we can. It's been a while.
We could go back to the Wednesday thing where we talk NXT and AEW.
Yeah.
NXT, I haven't watched it yet, but it seems like that's heating up too.
Yeah, I have also not watched NXT. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
That's what I'm doing tonight because there's nothing else on.
Yeah.
No college hoops. That's not till Saturday.
Boom.
Yeah, that's all I got, Tucky.
Life is good, my friend. Once again, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Give us a follow on Twitter at PodOnTheMark. And make sure you follow the Overtime Sports Network on Twitter at _OTSN. Until next time, we will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling
Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark Podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at PodOnTheMark.